Hello friend, it's Tonton, and in today's video we're gonna talk about Alliance Championship. We're gonna make a guide about it. That's a very important event. It's a weekly event. You have it very early in the game, and that could give you a lot of rewards. And I think many people don't really understand how it works. There are a lot of misunderstandings. So today we're gonna look a bit at quickly the store and why it's an important event, and then I'm gonna to kind of teach you and explain to you how to register properly and how can you fix your registration process to have like easier matchup and win more often and get more reward. That will only work up to a certain level, but then you're gonna get the most reward you can with the strength of your alliance that way, and you will be in the highest league possible with the strength of your alliance. In the shop, what is really important nowadays, it used to be one place where when you start the game you will want to buy the design plans. They are really important for free to play, for low spenders. That's big source of that. But recently they added pets, which is not too bad, especially for the serums, and they added, more importantly, when you are Gen 3.5, so when you have the War Academy, they added the experts, right? And they're really important to get. You can get some books, but that's a lot less likely to be needed. What you will need the most for experts is actually the sigils. And here you can get sigils, and currently with the expert, because you see there is one that's buffing the rewards you can get actually, for us, we can get the 15 sigils every week, more or less, if we have a good week. So that's really good. That's a really good buff, and that's mostly what you buy. After the sigil, if you have that, you can buy this one is actually better than buying these individually. You have them here. That's a bit of a discount. That's the equivalent of 1.3k of these, so you save 300. You can go for serums as well. That's really okay. Like the hero shards are pretty bad. They're pretty bad overall. So no point to buy the hero shard, but you can get the sigils when you're Gen 3.5 and you have the expert. Before that, just take the chief gear or the pets. That's two things you can get. The way it works, you get some ranking which we are not ranked because that's the last league, but you get some different leagues. You start at the bottom, and you will go through. You start here, and these have multiple stages as well. So you will go through that, and then you will that's the points you get and the rewards. Then you will get to silver. Then you will get to silver 1, 2, 3. Then you will move to, I forgot exactly how it works, but you will climb. But that's not because you climb from gold. That will go directly to diamond. There are like different tiers of league, but that's really not important because you're gonna climb with what we're gonna talk about today, and it's gonna be a bit more than the usual advice that you see. Matchmaking is based on two things in Alliance Championship. It's based on the strength of your lanes. And somehow, if you register all the players in one lane, the game thinks you are weaker. It might not work forever. At some point, the developers might fix it because that's kind of a simple fix, I guess, depending on how it works in the back end. But so far, registering in one lane gives you an advantage because it will match you with stronger, far weaker opponent. And you can do the test. You register 1 or 2 weeks with people spreading, and you register 1 or 2 weeks with everyone in one lane. In the same league, you will be matched against far weaker opponents. But that only works until you get to a level where you are fighting the strongest team in the neighborhood, right? At least the strongest team you can defeat, because then you're gonna stop, because everyone is doing that, the middle lane as well, or whichever lane. So it does not matter which lane, because your R4 is gonna split people, on Wednesday. On Wednesday, I'm gonna do the lane, it's 2 days from now. So right now people are registering. They have 48 hours to register. But that's one way to lower your overall power, is everyone in one lane. So you see I've been making some tests, and I'll show you in a sec. With my farm about reducing your power, and I'll show you the data in a sec. But that's one way to do it. It's putting everyone one lane. So the other parameter is when you start to be either with the leagues or with the ultimates. You see, we are in the ultimate, that's the last one, but we have some stars, right? So when we are stars 15, we have a very easy matchup. When we start to go to 18 and 20, we have very hard matchup against the stronger alliance in the neighborhood. So it's the same with the leagues, right? When you start the game, and you are very early, you might still be facing the strongest of the strongest player around you, gold league, because everyone is gold league, right? The best one are gold league, the second best one are silver, and the noobs, kind of weaker alliance, are still bronze, right? Because everyone starts for bronze. So it's gonna go over time, it's gonna get easier to progress no matter if your alliance is getting stronger or not. And for us, we regularly now in ultimate faced like dead alliance, people that are very weak. It's because getting to ultimate 1 star after 2 years is very easy. So even like, farms can get there, some very weak alliance can get there, because they are just, we just play so much that the good alliances are ahead and the weaker ones are behind. That's just the way it works. And you know, people are feeding on like very weak farm that are not progressing. So you know, the people that are in bronze are feeding on very weak alliance, so they can move to silver, and people in silver are and there is kind of a system like that, and it's just everyone go through. So eventually you will get to ultimate. That everyone we should get to ultimate if you play long enough. But again, we will talk about like getting to ultimate a lot faster, hopefully for you. But understand that the registering middle lane or whichever you choose has a limit, because at some point you will face the strongest opponents around you. And if you are weaker than them, if you don't make the lane, you still have a chance to, you know, outsmart them and outplay them with making the lane. But if you don't, or if you just get unlucky, because you don't know how they're gonna play at the end of the day, that's gonna be one thing. So one of the ways to remove your power, and I'll show you quickly and I'll show you the data, is to play with your troops. You see, like right now, I'm registered with a normal, I registered with 50, 20, 30. So if I register with 50, 20, 30, that's my power changed a bit. I might have lost like pets or a title or something, but that's okay. That's my baseline, right? On my farm, I'm registering with 50, 20, 30. That's where am I? So if I start to do, let's say there is a very, you know, typical one is 60-40. Does it work in Alliance Championship? It does a lot. It does a lot. And you see already I'm 4.3. So that's a lot better. I lost 900. So what I could do that's not really lowering the power is really just getting the right hero. And in that case, getting the right hero is getting Greg. Because he's, you know, probably Bradley might, you know, he is really good. But if you are a bit sooner in the game, like if you are Gen, you know, 4-5, you might not have such a good marksman. You have Lin as well eventually if you don't have Greg. So Greg or Lin is very good with 60-40 for beginners, or like, you know, people a bit sooner like in the game than me. That will be really great. You have a lot less power, but like it does not reduce the power of your march, right? You just have less power because you have two types of troops. And that's something very important to understand. If you go here, and you will do something stupid, but if you do just infantry, you see my power drop even better. My infantry is the troop with the most power, technically speaking, right? That the troops, I have the best charms, the best of everything, and I have the same amount of troop. But in Alliance Mobile Championship, basically, when you reduce the amount of troop that you have, so you have three kinds. So if you go to 2, if you go to 1, and 1 is not working, but you can go to 2, right? And I'll show you another option in a sec. Is that way to reduce the amount of power, so you will have an easier matchmaking even with one lane, and you would not be weaker, because if your rally leader are properly set up for 60-40, they will be stronger, but they will look, you know, 500 power, 1k less on multiple people, and you will face weaker opponents overall. Again, if you are the highest league, you know, you will still face the strongest opponent compared to your neighborhood. What's as well very important with lowering your power on paper, your paper power, when you're not lowering your strength, it's gonna mess up your opponent's reading of the lane. So that will be another video where I explain how to make the lane. It's like your opponent will look at the power of the lane if they don't pay attention, and they will try to match the lane versus the power. So they're like, okay, they have a 110k lane, I'll make 115k to try to counter it. But if you have rally leader that are using 60-40 a lot, your lane might be real power, maybe 120, 125, right? Because you have you don't have paper power, basically. You have real efficient power in your lane. So that's another reason. Is like, of course, it's gonna help a bit with the matchmaking eventually. Well, it might be limited when you reach the top of that, but it will make your opponent harder to read your lanes, because they will see, you know, they will be confused about who are the strongest players, assuming that you may be players that are weaker, they register 50, 20, 30, so they will look higher in power when they will look weaker. So that's gonna confuse your opponent, because one way to as well counter the opponent is to look at the order of players and try to counter that, and that takes a lot of time. That's really hard to do, but you can kind of mess with them. So if you do register in one lane, on top of that, you do 60-40. If you don't have 60-40 and you have more marksmen, you can do the Mia trick, right? You can as well do the Mia trick, and you can do 49-2. That's gonna work. You can do 49-2-49, or you can do 45-10-45. That's 3 troops, so your power is not gonna be as low. But see, let's look at it, right? That's gonna be interesting. 4.7k. I did not test it before the video, so it might not be. But see, 4.4k, because you remove 2% on Lancer, you are losing power. And they don't do anything. You don't need Lancers to play with her. Just me check the hero. Yeah, it's 4.4. So the hero are not really changing the power, it's really the troops, right? So that's the three main ways to cheese. You register in one lane, everyone in one lane. So we need to move these people. You use like a troop ratio on people that make sense. Either they have better marksmen than everything else, and better marksmen and infantry, so they don't have good lancers. You do 60-50, you do 50-0, 50, or 99 to 99. If they are rally leader, you do the 60-40 with infantry and lancer. That's really reduce your power, really make your registration process smoother. You will beat more opponents. I know some people really had a lot of fun with that. It was also because, they went back to an alliance that was not very high in rank. So, they went back with this kind of strategy and blasted everyone, because people get confused with how to counter lanes, like losing versus lanes that are weaker than them, because they just trust the power. They don't understand that power is not really calculated in a very fair way here, and you can actually cheese it quite a bit. So that's how you cheese alliance championship matchmaking. I'll do a follow-up video Wednesday when the troops are actually available, when the lanes are available. I'll show you how to do the lanes, but before that, I just wanted to show you something in Chrome that I've done. So that's my main, like I showed you my farm now, but that's my main. If I register with 30-33, 50-20-30, that's usually the by default that you want to use, or maybe 60-10-30, that's okay as well. Either it's 50 or 60 and 10 or 20, then 30 marksmen. That's the by default for everyone. You shouldn't use a 33-33-33. The only issue with this one is really heavy on infantry, and it really showed that it's really increased the power. So it's gonna hurt your matchmaking. So if you all do 50-20-30, you're gonna have very strong lanes on paper, and that might not be the best. If you go to 60-40, it starts to be more than 1,000 for me, points drop, right? And I will talk about the title in a sec. That's the title on the right. So you can just follow on that one for now. And you see, so if I do 0, 100, and 0, it's a big drop in power. It's nearly half compared to this one, right? Not nearly half, but that's a good like 30-40% 30% discount in terms of power. So that's really allow you to look weaker to your opponent, brain them, do your lane smartly, and kick their butts basically with this registering middle and doing that. That for people asking about the Minister of Defense or the Minister of Strategy. Minister of Defense is giving you lethality, I think it's 10%, and Minister of Strategy is giving you troop deployment and attack, right? Both of these are additive titles. They are not multiplicative, so they are not making a big difference. If you consider power to be which the point of the video is like power is not is not what best, but I think the troop deployment scale better because you might register sometime with a 10 or 20% deployment buff for your wells, and so that's gonna be extra deployment from the title as well, right? So that's really good overall. But you see, Minister of Strategy, which I'll show you in a sec what I'm talking about, is a bit better. So if you have the choice, you can just do that. They are here, the title. You see I have the two because I made some tests today. So Minister of Strategy, a bit better than Minister of Defense. That's okay. And you could have the President title, but I don't have it. I think I will actually use that if I had it. But it might not be better than Minister of Strategy. I checked a while back. I can't really remember. But you can, if you President, just test it and tell us in the comments. But that's where you are with the registration. That's the 3 tips. Last time I kind of make a summary of it is really about registering one lane, using 60-40, or if you don't need to lower your power, you can use 50-20-30, right? And if you need, you can use as well 50-0, 50 with Mia. And if you do 60-40, then please you use Marksman Hero that's buffing a lot. So, extra damage, extra health, damage reduction. Like it's very tanky Lancer and Infantry. So Greg, Lean are very good for that. Hopefully that's helpful. Hopefully that helping your alliance with that. Share it with your Air Force. Let me know in the comments if that's the kind of advice you are looking for today, and I'll make a update my guide about how to do the lanes. I've played a lot more with doing the lanes myself, so hopefully I have a bit more information to share with you. Thank you very much for watching. Consider joining the Discord, consider subscribing, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye everyone.